And there we are.
Hello and welcome to Take on the World TV. I am a different host for this secret show, and I am Chris Bailey's wife, Liz Bailey, and I am going to be doing the secret shows with our female speakers for Take on the World conference that we have here in August in Vermilion, Ohio. So first, I just wanted to say thank you to everybody who is watching this live, but because it is a secret show and has remained hush-hush, I'm sure there's going to be a lot who watch this recording. So thank you first off for taking the time to sit down and be with us and learn more about our speakers for Take on the World Conference. We have so much in store for this show and all the upcoming ones, and we would love it if you would subscribe to our channel so that way you are notified when we do these shows and any of the others that are on Take on the World TV. This is really a community of believers, of truthers really, that come together and feel a passion to share what has been placed on our hearts. So we have lots of different shows on Take on the World TV. And we would absolutely love for you to subscribe to the channel so you are notified when all of our shows go live. Now for our guest, which if you can see from the title is Emily Pittsford. And we had the pleasure of meeting Emily actually at the very first Take on the World conference that Chris and I hosted in 2017. And that was our first ever biblical conference that we had ever put on. We were shocked and honored and blessed to have over 300 people come to our very first conference. And Emily and her husband were one of those. They actually were the couple that traveled the furthest, coming from California all the way to Ohio. And we were shocked that somebody would want to be a part of it, you know, this first time conference in Ohio. But it was such a blessing. We had the chance to get to know Emily a little bit more, learn more about her. And then here we are last year at Take on the World 18, and Emily was a speaker. So it's been pretty phenomenal getting to know Emily, and that's why I want all of you to get to know Emily on a personal, more intimate level. She has an incredible story. Just so much to share with our community. And Emily has been given a platform that most wouldn't dare to share in the world that we live in today. But she is a warrior, truly, to persevere through everything that she has, all the trials that she has in her life. And so welcome, Emily. I am so excited to do this secret show with you and for you to share your story with everyone.
Well, thank you. And I'm really excited to be here. This is such an honor. And yeah, to see this from the ground floor, your conference, it's really been a blessing and a really incredible thing to watch, you know, because I mean, I knew pretty much right away that there was something really different about this one, but it's when I saw that it was at a camp versus just a hotel, and there's nothing wrong with it being in a hotel, but it just had a different flavor to it than most. And so yeah, it was pretty cool. Actually, my husband had said he would take me to another conference, and I just never got tickets. And then this one came up, and I said, you know, instead, can we trade up on that one? You know, and so he, of course, said yes, obviously, and I was like, what am I doing? I'm 58 and I'm traveling across the country to meet people I see online. This is, you know, just weird. And we got to Chicago because, you know, the Cleveland, well, at least Southwest doesn't fly straight through. And so we got to Chicago and we both get texts as we land stating, your flight has been delayed. And we had to spend the night in Chicago because of fog delay. And I never experienced that. So, you know, we had a toothbrush that they gave us and that was it because our luggage was not with us. And we survived, obviously. But it was like, am I not supposed to be here? And, you know, God saying, turn around. And my friend said, keep going, just keep going. So here we
Yep.
are.
Well, that's Cleveland for you. You know, wait 15 minutes and the weather changes, but most often you're greeted with a little bit of gloom with our weather, as it is today. We're expecting a major thunderstorm. But
Oh,
yeah, that's Cleveland. Hopefully, you know, that was September time. So we have moved from the first conference being in September to now being in August, which that's summertime. It's still warm. It's hopefully really nice. So
oh, it's beautiful. It's just, and it was perfect weather there. Actually, it was a Chicago that had the fog. That's what keyed us in, and where we had to spend the night in Chicago with just a toothbrush. But it all worked, obviously, because I just loved watching this process unfold and watching all of you guys start this up.
it was amazing going from 2017. So all of those listening, if you remember, we were crammed into this great hall of the camp that was literally, I think it celebrated its 70th anniversary. No air conditioning. It was quite an experience. So we go from 2017 to having the ability to rent a whole entire secluded Christian beach community, truly where you feel like you're on your own island together. And this year now we have 4 days long. So even more fellowship, even more togetherness. And it's a family event. And that's really what was placed on our hearts. So many conferences are out there and there's amazing ones, but it always seemed that for families, you had to find a babysitter and it was just the parents going, and we wanted it to be a family affair. We wanted the kids to connect with one another, and now there's pen pals going back and forth. It's just been an honor and a blessing to be able to put this on and to meet incredible people like you. So start us off. Share your story with us.
Well, I was born in Hawaii, and my mother named me Emily after my grandfather Emil. And I tell people I love my name. It's Emily Lorraine, which I think is really pretty. And I love being born in Hawaii, and anything else pretty much landed me in therapy. So, because my dad was military, he was Navy, and I was born in the Queen Kapolani Hospital, which when as many of you know already, but I had memories come up later on, and I said, Lord, why? Why? Was there anything good, out of this childhood? And I was in Hawaii, happened to be on a cruise with my husband's family, and we were on this bike tour at a volcano, and the guy was telling us that Queen Kapolani, I think is how it's pronounced, was a Christian, and she had all of the people on the island burn their idols, and only Jesus could be worshipped for a time. I mean, it's still full of a lot of really bad spiritual stuff over there. But I just thought that was really interesting. Most children or babies are born at Tripler if you're Navy. But my mother had spinal bifida meningocele, which is a curvature of the spine in utero, and most babies die. And then obviously she had me though, but she couldn't hold me. So it was a rough go because I was an only child, and there wasn't anybody around. I mean, there was some, but it was rough. And then we moved to San Diego when I was 2, and went through kindergarten and all the way to high school from the same house, and was always extremely creative from first grade on. I was in art class. They would take me into art class and to another teacher who would teach the kids how to paint and stuff. And I loved school because it was socialization. I did well up until math, when they put math or English with math. I knew then that algebra was from Satan. And I graduated, and then I went to college for a little while, and I got a job as a bus girl at the CPO mess, which is the Chiefs Club in San Diego, where the Navy Chiefs go, hence the Chiefs Club. And I met this man, ultimately, that was a bartender, and he was Bill the bartender. And we dated, and it was really dysfunctional. And somehow we got married, October 6th, 1979. And I got pregnant about 9 months later. And we got a phone call because he didn't really have a job. He was still kind of bartending, I think, and substitute teaching. And this guy called and says, "Hey, we got a job for you." So he got a job at a high-risk girls' school and soccer coach. He was already coaching by that point. And we had this little girl in 1981 and that little boy in 1982. And I ran a daycare, and things looked okay on the outside, but we were a mess. And the Lord moved us up to a desert area. It's called Hesperia in 1990. And we ended up there for 21 years. I was really scared it was going to be a 40-year stint in the desert, but we did end up coming back, obviously. But in about 2000, and the kids went to college and then got real liberal. They both were valedictorians, really intelligent human beings, and just always well loved, and always, just everyone loved for the most part, especially Tim. Leanne was a go-getter. She was a warrior from the beginning, and she was like president of the class and then ASB president, and et cetera, et cetera. And so about 2005 or four, I got the email that changed everything. And that's when she said, "I have girlfriends. I have lots of girlfriends." And it really spun our world around, needless to say. But the good news was that our counselor was pretty open to deliverances to the spiritual side of things, which is very rare, and even for Christian counselors. And so we went and had that done, and supposedly we got everything, removed, curses and stuff like that. But I expected her to change overnight. Like, I called her like, "Hey, how you doing?" I was thinking she was going to say, "Mom, I get it. I don't know what happened, but I am so over this gay thing." But no. And then, but memories ultimately started coming up because I had prayed against the Freemasons. And so I have 2 bouts of sexual abuse. And then I was put on the altar when I was 3 by the Freemasons, and they performed satanic rituals over me. And I have some inklings of what happened, but I don't really like to say because I don't really have proof. It's just one of those things when you go through things like this, you almost know instinctively when you read about other rituals. So when I react really not well to things, then I kind of know that might be something that they did. But either way, it is what it is. And so things were going well, or at least better. Our daughter worked for a place that made gay marriage legal in California for a while. And so those were rough days because she was really focused on the political side of this. And her and Tim lived together for about 18 months in the same apartment, and that was nice. And then about 2010 is when our son went to bed one night and did not wake up. And our daughter had the horror of finding him dead in his bed. And to deal with everything else, I can remember before my memories coming up going, Lord, we kind of been through a lot. So I'm assuming we're just going to skate through the rest of our lives. Our bad stuff was and this is before I even knew about what really went on. And yeah, that didn't happen. So here we were, with our son gone. But I always say I knew 3 things. I had to grieve because a significant loss will bring up your unresolved issues. And then the most important thing is I knew we had to deal with our daughter, and especially me, because I knew there was things I did or didn't do that affected her in a negative manner. And I couldn't bond with her. And so in the course of this, and I explained it in my speech, but that that I was able to find out what that spiritual block was and remove it. I wish I could say that fixed everything. It's still a process. I want this over, but it's like I was telling a friend when we want that success, right? We all do. We're praying for it and fasting or whatever we feel led to do for this. But when it happens, we're going to look back and go, wow, I could not have handled that a year ago. Right? So that's what I'm banking on, because And so I'm going through the process. My friend gave me a saying. She said, start sowing the seeds now for the field that your child will be walking home on now. And I try to live by that and just keep, working through things and becoming closer to the Father and being more obedient and all those things, because he's testing us in the meantime. And there's things already that I can look back and go, wow, I didn't know about that. In fact, things I talk about in my speech, I did not know were sin. I'd ask people and they said no. And so that's most likely why the deliverance didn't work as well as it could have. And not to blame them. They're amazing people. But the church just doesn't understand that this is a sin. And God's timing, totally, again, I would not trade anything for that experience, because of that, then I ended up being able to denounce the Freemasons and find all this out. But that's kind of my mission, is to tell people this is a sin and we have to look at this.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of where we're at now.
And your presentation last year, you had 2 parts to your presentation at Take on the World 18, which you did share. Was it just the first half, or did you put it all together in the show on Now You See TV on that YouTube network?
Oh, yeah, I put it all together and did those 100 slides in an hour and 50 or 30 minutes. I was moving them. But it sounds scary, 100 slides, but they help me, because then I don't have to have notes in front of me, and then I can hit my points. But yeah, the first day was my testimony and the mainstream things, like when a mother isn't around, or their distant dad and that kind of thing. And then I went into trannies. I went into trans and showed how we have been lied to in this world, that they're not what they say they are, even their sex. I mean, we know they're a mess. We see the rag. I mean, hopefully we just see the rag magazines as we go in the checkout. We don't buy them, but no judgment if you do. But the other day I did buy a National Enquirer because it had all the conspiracies. It's over there in the recycling, so I pointed to it. I just wanted to see what they say. And my husband's read it, and he goes, yeah, they all say it's bunk. But, so I did buy one. But yeah, so we know they're a mess. I mean, you can look at them and see that they're a mess, and they wear the big crosses. So you think, oh, they're a Christian, and oh, they talk about reading their Bible. They're a Christian. And they, John 3:16 everywhere. They're a Christian. Most likely not. Mm-hmm. So, especially if they're trans, they're most likely lying to us on every level. And so I really enjoyed being able to expose that. And I've got some more people that I'm saving for Take on the World to expose, that aren't even exposed by mainstream YouTube channels, if you will, on that.
Well, I will say what you shared last year was eye-opening on so many different levels, and it really puts the puzzle pieces together that, I think a lot of people have been watching the whole movement just sort of explode in front of our eyes. And, for some people, you're taken aback, like, this movement seems so huge and so inflated, but then you find out, oh no, it's only this tiny, populace that is just going gangbusters in our whole entire media, changing the landscape of everything for the generations to come.
Right. Do you need me to move? Because you're cutting out a little bit. Am I cutting out? Or is it just my laptop?
You know what? It could be this storm that's happening outside my window right now,
okay.
But we'll
persevere. Sometimes it's mine. So, okay, just making sure. And Robbie Davidson asked me at Question Everything, he said, I've been watching this for a long time, as many of us have. And he said, but I didn't see the trans thing coming. And I said, you know what? I didn't either. and I've been watching it for a long time, obviously, because it's been 14 years since she came out. Ooh, almost whatever. 2004, so yeah, 15 almost. So yeah, I've definitely had my eye, and truthfully, even before then, because I would always, even though I wouldn't do it again, but I used to listen to Dobson and, all of the mainstream ministers in the 90s talk about homosexuality and all the things that were going on. And I don't really trust them now, but I did used to listen to that. And even with that, wow, it's tenfold. It is unbelievable. But that's what sin does. I mean, it just keeps doubling. It's like that old question that people would pose, at least they were when I was a kid, and it said, like, what would you take? I don't know what the amount was, like $30,000, let's say, or 1 penny on day 1, 2 pennies on day 2. 4 penny, you get the gist. And then they show you how you will end up with more than the 30,000 or whatever. And that's what it's doing. It's just doubling. And I have uncovered something even deeper that is another smoking gun. I thought I had, when you said, I can't wait to see what Emily uncovers this year. And I went, oh no, the pressure, and can I up my ante? And the Lord has been faithful and showed me some things that we didn't see. We just didn't see. And so that's going to be really exciting, I think, to uncover these things. And what I really enjoy or like to focus on, my goal, is to show that we are all involved, because I get kind of fed up with people like that. They just can't wait to down it, which it is a sin. I mean, I'm never going to argue that. But, we've had a hand in this. And especially parents my age who used to take, and living in Southern California, going to Disneyland was a rites of passage. You didn't talk about when or if you were taking your kids, you talked about what age you would take them. What was the appropriate age to take your, was it worth it to take a 2-year-old? Was it worth it to, that kind of thing. And it was just something you did. And boy, it they're living in a fantasy land. I met this one woman that used to be trans, and she said it up. And I thought about that, and we are. The fantasy movies and, and we're the escapism, and not to say we haven't done it. And that's kind of my point. We've all, at least again, my parents my age, thought that was just amazing. And we're seeing the difference already in the community of people that are raising their children in the whole Bible. These kids they're just on fire, and it's incredible to watch.
Mm-hmm.
I fight jealousy.
You have the little truthers is sort of how I see it. I grew up on Disney. That was just the thing. Every summer I watched The Little Mermaid at least like 200 times. It was my absolute favorite Disney movie. And were all those subliminal messages there back then in the late 80s, 90s, dating myself? Of course they were, but it's nothing like it is today. Absolutely nothing. Well, and
because we kept accepting it too.
Mm-hmm.
It was
Very
there.
True.
We just kept accepting it a little more. I love that scene in Back to the Future when he goes, with his guitar, goes a little crazy with his parents in the auditorium, and he all of a sudden looks up and he goes like this, and they're all, yeah. Satan knows. The lighting is driving me crazy. Satan knows what he can put forth to whom, and he conditions us. I will talk about how World War II traumatized us as a nation and as a world. And so Satan brought in things to numb the pain, and it was the movies and Disney but he couldn't obviously bring sex, drugs, and rock and roll in 1945. But he could bring in movies and the movies. Now looking back, a lot of people are doing videos on who's a trans, and It was all back then. There was a lot of movies on homosexuality back then. They were just very subliminal, or some were so bad though they were taken down. But it was there, just not as, because they could only take
Right.
so much.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's little by little. And now, maybe it was more stealth back then, but now it's just so blatant in your face. And
In the face. Yeah.
we we even ask some younger kids, younger family members, about just the hand signals and things like that in kids shows. And they're like, oh yeah, that's the Illuminati, and they laugh about it, and we're like, no idea what you're talking about.
No, that's interesting. That's really interesting.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
it's everywhere.
I don't watch
And
television anymore. So,
it's made to be playful, very playful, from the Taco Bell commercials of, just blatantly showing it all out there. Like, hey, this is nothing. This is super fun. Be a part of this. And they're just corralling everybody in.
totally. It's an interesting time, but the good news is the Father is just continually revealing it layer after layer, and it's so exciting to see. And when I got opened up to Flat Earth April 15th, 2015, I really I've been chomping at the bit. I'm not gonna lie. I wanted to get involved in the truth movement, and I thought about doing a YouTube channel, and being that my daughter hangs out with the elite sometimes, she knows an astronaut. So I was like, oh, I just didn't want to go there. And then, so I'm just so thankful that you guys gave me the opportunity to get my feet wet and take on the world, because it was such a welcoming group of people, because you guys set the tone for that, really. But even so, I mean, people were just wonderful, and that was really cool. So yeah, I am enjoying watching the process, even though I've had a few bumps with people that aren't real congenial to my topic, but for the most part, it's been all good, And he just picked me because I'm not spoken. So
it really is amazing to see how, going from just attending in 17 to speaking in 18, and now here we are in 19, and you just spoke at a previous conference earlier this year. You're speaking at one, what is it, next weekend?
Yeah, in Calgary.
Yeah, tell us about that.
Yeah, I'm real excited. Well, what happened was, and if I can back up the story with 2000 or question everything, I was kind of on a roll after I came home from your conference. And so Tom and Jared mentioned that there was a conference in California. I'm like, dude, I got to look for this one. So what's the name? So I Googled it and found his website, and there's no way to email him. So I went through pretending to ask for a table, like a vendor. So I said, yeah, I want to, if you're looking for somebody to do this subject. And so he said, no, we're full. And I said, okay, and so anyway, bottom line is then they read my blog and they said, you're in, which was really sweet. And so there's this gal that came from Calgary. She got to know the Longs in Calgary, and they said, hey, come down to Calgary for this conference. So she did, and a friend of hers. And we talked a little bit, and I felt like a real connection with this woman. And gosh, all of a sudden it was a week later, and I get an email, and she's putting on a conference in Calgary and wants a few of us speakers that she really enjoyed listening to. They were all good. But so myself and Robbie Davidson, Nathan Reynolds, and Jared Cressman, Mark Sargent, and I'm probably forgetting somebody. There's 5 guys, I think, 5 guys, and then me. Darn it. Anyway,
Matt Long speaking.
Matt Long. And so, yeah, I'm really excited just to hang out with these guys. And it was It was a hoot. So it'll be fun. And she's a really nice woman, just really focused on the father and to do what he wants her to do. And I see good things coming out of this, and she was able to keep her prices really reasonable. But no hotel with it and all that kind of stuff, so, but still, and I'm going to get to meet some people I've met online that are going to come down from Edmonton area. So that'll be really fun. Maybe like a little reunion, because that's what it feels like, these things, you get to know people online, but there's nothing like getting hands-on experience. So yeah,
Totally.
I'm really
It truly is like a family reunion. It's instant connection. You've seen these people on YouTube. You feel like you're sitting in their living room with them. And, you've had this friendship, even though it's virtual, but being able to sit down face to face, give everybody a hug, and just fellowship together. It's amazing. I know, at least from my perspective of putting on the conferences, it's such a high that you get, and then when it comes to an end, it's such a low.
I know. What comes up must come down. Yeah, both conferences. Thankfully, coming home from Question Everything, because Nathan put a video on it. Nathan Reynolds and Chelsea and Naomi came to our home and camped out in our driveway for a week, and we had a great time in San Diego. So that was really nice, but then I still grieved at the end, like when he left, because I don't do well with goodbyes because of my son, and so I had to work through that. I'm not gonna lie, and but it was good. I mean, it was so worth it. It was really nice to have kind of a family feeling here in our home, because I miss my kids. Bottom line. I like being a mom. I did it for 20 years. I would tell them, I said, it'd be like if you had a job for 20 years and, you made a lot of mistakes and, but you learn from them and you keep trying. And, but all in all, you do what you're supposed to do. And then you get a pink slip and say, later, our professors are much smarter than you, just see ya. That's kind of how I felt. It's definitely challenging, but we all get what we need to grow.
Very true.
So,
Very true.
Somebody said the best thing really that happened was that my daughter in this lifestyle for me, it really opened up my heart. It caused so many healing moments, and because of just it's difficult. It's not something you really hope for. At least you shouldn't, in my opinion. So. And speaking of family, so I was just the best submissive wife and volunteered my husband for a duty at Take on the World. And but I said, your decision, but they do need this. And what do you think? And so he took a couple days to think about it and talk to Chris. And so my husband is going to help with the sports at Take on the World for the kids. And my husband is amazing with children and amazing soccer coach. He won 7 league championships in a row when he was at Ramona in 9 years. And he is now coaching again at a Christian high school. And he brought them from the depths to they won league champion. Not that it's all about winning, but he does have the ability to make a group of kids a team. And I mean, there's kids in Ramona where we lived for 9 years. They're still in contact. They're still best buddies. And the Hispanics wouldn't hang out with the whites or vice versa. And so he says, why aren't you guys having lunch together? And so they started having lunch together. And again, they're still good friends. One's the soccer coach, the head soccer coach now at Ramona. So that's kind of cool that his legacy lives on. And yeah, so I'm real excited that he can help out there for, whatever you guys need him to do. So.
And let me tell you, there we go. It froze a little bit on my end. We are so excited. I cannot even tell you what a blessing it is to have Bill take this on. It's truly been something that I've been praying about, because we have the kids program. Really, it's 2 programs in one. You have the adult program running the whole time of the conference, and then you have the kids program as well, which starts from ages 4 and up, and we break them into two groups, 4 to 10, and then 11 to 18 if they want to be together, or, really whatever the parents are most comfortable with putting their children into whichever program. And it's all volunteer. We had a lot of parents help us out last year, but the setting that we're at Beulah Beach, which is its own Christian camp throughout the whole entire year. So they have camp counselors come in from all across the country that put on these phenomenal camps. The space is amazing. There are fields across from where the conference is set that we never really utilized last year because we didn't have anybody to sort of spearhead it and, be able to work with all the different ages and coordinate it all. So Chris and I took on a bunch, and, we wore lots of hats, and he rode his bicycle around checking on all the different stages, and I was here, there, and everywhere. So to have somebody take up the reins and really help just provide the active play for all the ages is, it takes a huge burden off of us. So thank you for offering, and thank you again to your husband for taking this on. He doesn't know what he's in for, but
well, what's odd,
we'll make sure to have lots of volunteers.
Oh yeah. But it was odd. I was just thinking about this. He happened to go across the street and look at that field. Like, what are the odds on that? And I didn't know who to ask first. Like, if I ask him, he'll probably just say no, and that'll be it. Okay. But so maybe manipulative. I don't know. But so I just thought, well, just in case but I don't want to ask him if you don't need one, So yeah, I asked you first, which, if I need to confess, I'll get convicted. But it's still, I mean, he said yes. And so I'm real excited for him and to do that. And it'll be cool because he is very talented in that. And so, like in the Christian school, he didn't really want to, but I'd had a dream that he was coaching in a nearby high school. And so when he came home from the meeting with the school, because he was just going to volunteer to sub or teach math or something, because he felt led to do that. And then he goes, yeah, they want me to coach soccer. And I go, I had a dream, but it's your choice. But here in the dream, our daughter was helping. Our daughter was helping at that high school. I don't know. I didn't ask for the dream, so we'll see, if it comes true or not. But so it's really cool because God uses all of our talents. We tend to think that, especially when we get into the whole Bible, I think we have to get rid of everything, and we can't sew, or we can't do this, or we can't do that, and and whatever it is that you felt like you have made an idol of. But the interesting thing is, I'm finding out as I go along that He will use everything, just like the Word says. Obviously there's things to give up. Don't get me wrong, but those things that keep us active in the community can really be utilized. So
Absolutely. It is amazing how everybody's talents come together and how it's all orchestrated. Chris and I would have never thought 5-6 years ago that we would be putting on these conferences. We put on different health events in the past, and Chris is the dreamer, truly. And I always tell everybody this when it comes to how all of this came about. He's the dreamer, the innovator. That's just who he is in every aspect. Although I love being creative, just like you. But I'm type A. I'm trying to be a recovering control freak, and I tend to be more of a realist in life. So he's the dreamer.
Monitors. We are hall monitors.
Yes.
I'm gonna close the shade.
It's so funny for everybody who has watched Nathan and Chelsea Reynolds' journey, all of their videos that they've put out on YouTube, Rolling with the Reynolds. I love it. There was one episode where he talked about being the hall monitor and how he would have to check all the thermostat and all the, gadgets on their RV, and he would walk by that hall and constantly check it. Hey, turn off those lights. You do this, you do that. And I commented back to him. I'm like, hey, from one homeowner to another, I get you. I get you. I'm the one going through, turning off all the lights and picking up the shoes and doing all of that every single day. And it's so funny because that's who my dad was. And growing up, I thought I'm never going to be like that. And here I am today.
I can relate totally. As amazing as my husband is, the lights, and I mean, we've been married 3.5 years. I really need to understand he's probably not going to be the one that turns off the lights, generally speaking, but sometimes I'll like turn off the light, we're driving and this is him, blinker, and this is me, blinker. I'm not driving. I guess that's the Freudian slip. One time at our church, I go in and to this class for, I can't remember what, your gifts or something. And this guy, he stands up and he goes, I had this vision. This is so embarrassing, but what the heck? It's just us. So I had this vision of this woman and her husband was driving in a little car. My husband's home. And, quiet, come here. And she's driving and he's driving and the wife has a little car with her. That's what it was, like a little Fisher Price thing. And she's telling her husband where to go. And we had just been garage selling and I was telling him in the map, I'm the navigator. That you need to go here. He goes, well, I think we need to go. I go, I'm looking. And so the next week I confessed that was me. So yeah, and now I don't. I let him. I just okay. I just tell myself if he gets lost, he gets lost. I don't give him. At least I try not to directions unless he asks. Come here, puppies. Come here. You want to say hello? Come here.
Well, I will confess. I am the exact same way. We have a lot in common.
It happens. Oh, there's Dad. Okay, go see him. Bill.
Boss?
Bill.
What?
I'm on video.
Oh.
Live television.
That's right. Secret show. Well, I am trying
I hear what happens when he comes home.
I'm trying my hardest to control myself while driving, because it's a part of me and it's so difficult. Because I'm always the navigator. I used to try a ton in doing sales, and I'm the person that I know the best shortcut. We're gonna get there faster with my shortcut. And so I always, turn here. Don't forget your blinker. Yes, I do that. I turn on the windshield wipers. I'm not driving, but that's what I do. And yeah, it causes some conflict.
A little bit. Yeah, I've been there. But never forget, she's driving this little Fisher Price toy thing. And oh my God. But he does his. I mean, he did it in such a way that was kind of funny, but I needed to confess, and it's truthfully, I think I'm much better about letting that go. It's kind of freeing too. Like, okay, if we get lost, we get lost. I was telling a friend of mine, we were having the same conversation, and she goes, blah blah blah. What if he gets lost? I said, so he gets lost. You're still on the same plane. I mean, cars make U-turns. You can, figure it out, and so now I'll ask occasionally, do you want directions? And he'll say yes or he'll say no, and then. So I am the navigator. My mother was like that too. So, I come by it honestly, which is no excuse, but those days it was the map. And when they would move to a new town, they didn't move around a lot, but whatever they did for the Navy, she'd get out a map of the town and study it, and she knew her way around. So, but
it's funny because Riley, our son, is picking up on all of it. Of course, he's sitting in the back seat, and he has a tendency to pick up a lot of me. So he's now a little navigator. And, you know, who, who knows what he's thinking in the back, but he literally knows all the places, you know, well, if I take a different route, heaven forbid I take a different route, why are you doing that? You know, he's an only child, so he's sort of picking up on all this and can definitely have a little bit of a sassy, bossy attitude to him. And you know, he'll say things from time to time, and I'll be like, "Whoa, where'd that come from?" And Chris is like, "That's you. You say that all the time." And then I'm like, "Oh, well, now I see it."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Out of the mouths of babes, as they say, you know, yeah. Tim would just know. He had this instinctive ability. He could barely see above the. This is way before, you know, all the different car seats. You know, as soon as they could go in a seatbelt, we put our kids in seatbelts, and he would just know, like, we need to turn there. It was crazy, yeah. But you know,
Mm-hmm.
I had to favor him too. But he just had that ability to, you know, okay, we'll go that way. You know.
Totally. So then I'm sure you can relate with me when becoming a mom and how many things you have to just let go of. Like, you know, I was crazy with trying to keep everything clean and organized. And I finally gave up on that. Like, nobody come over. It's a mess. It's just going to be a mess. And I've got to learn that it's more important to be present with my child than to complain and get angry about all the toys being taken out and, you know, just life and just the mess of life with kids. That has changed me a lot.
Oh, that is really good. That is really good. I can remember that. I can still hear those Legos being dumped out, and you just go, "Oh
Hmm.
no." I think there's a couple memes like of, I can't remember them, but they were funny about stepping on Legos, you know. And boy, would I love to hear that sound of Legos again, you know.
You can
And
come over to
but
my house and hear that every day.
sounds good. Sounds good. Yep. And so when kids come over, I've saved toys, and it was so cool to see the kids come over, you know, Naomi and stuff, when they were down, because she got to play with all of Leanne and Tim's toys, and that was really fun. And she was so cute. She I couldn't find the Weebles, or they weren't Weebles, but I thought they were, but the little people in the Fisher Price schoolhouse. And then I remember there in the Passover box, I search and she's searching with me. Where's the people? Where's the people? It was really funny. I found them afterwards, but you know, it was okay. So yeah, yeah. It's such a wonderful time. And boy, I can remember there was those moments where I was smart and just sat down with them and played. And those were the best
Hmm.
moments. You know, dishes can
Truly.
wait. You know,
Yep.
you know.
Yep. I've learned that. And that's a daily struggle, definitely, especially in this world today when there's so many distractions for parents. You know, the
Oh,
kids are still up in your face. Play with me, play with me, play with me.
yeah.
But you know, I've got to get to this email. I've got to get to this person. I've got to do this. And oh, we find ourselves just constantly saying, okay, wait, 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 be patient, be patient, be patient.
Yeah.
And then you lose that moment. And, you know, our son's going to be 7 in July. And it's like, where did the time go? I have to be more present. I have to set things aside and just, you know, live in the now and not, you know, always in the future or in the past. And
Well, on the line, online too. You know, that takes up a lot. As much as we love getting to know each other, it does take up a lot of time. You know,
mhm,
and then you kind of are in this other zone, and you have to really purposefully focus on other things, because it is very easy to, you know, see what the latest conversation is on Facebook or wherever, you know, the YouTube. I mean, I had to even slow down on watching YouTube videos because it was getting a little bit too much. You know, I mean, I think we all do that in the beginning, especially with the truth movement. You just can't wait to find
mhm.
out the newest thing. And then you realize at one point, I am not going to know everything. I'm not going to know every possible prophecy of what's going to happen in the future. Um, because as soon as you hear one theory, you're going to hear 14 others that are different. So which one do you pick? And really, we're not going to know until it happens. And my gifts are prophecy. So, I mean, I love that stuff, but it can be overwhelming,
Yep, very true.
so
I
yeah, it's
know.
much better to, yeah.
I know
I
for
had to back
us,
off recently. Go ahead.
when we started to understand a lot of this, it just all sort of just floods you. And this was a number of years ago when we started to just uncover the truths of 9/11. So that was, not far after 9/11. So we've been researching for a long time. And that initial start of learning it all and discovering it all, it was overwhelming and scary.
Oh,
Truly scary.
really, really, yeah. It is. It's unattainable how scary it is until you go through it. What got me the most, 9/11 didn't get me. For me, it was. Can you hear that?
A little bit.
Okay, he's shampooing the carpet right now. Uh, oh, okay.
It's perfect time.
Perfect time. So, um, what was I going to say? I lost my train of thought. Oh, for me, it was Disney and Wizard of Oz. I was in the fetal position for those two things because I just really love those two entities. And when I found out the truth about those things, that just blew me away. Especially Wizard of Oz, because that was my favorite movie. And I was Dorothy. My friends would call me Dorothy, and my best friend's dad called me Dorothy. And when my best friend and I would play Wizard of Oz, she had to be everything but Dorothy, and I was Dorothy. So, and then I find out it's actually made to make children suppress their memories of being sexually abused. And that was just earth shattering, because I lived in the day when it was on once a year and it was this big event, and I'd spend the night at her house, and, but yeah, it's a grieving process, really, of all this stuff. And so, and you want to absorb everything, because once you figured out you've been lied to, it's like, okay, well, what else? What else? What else? And then you find out what not else. It's pretty much everything. So,
Yeah. Your world gets shaken, turned upside down. Those rose-colored glasses get ripped off of your face really quickly
yeah.
when you start to see and connect the dots. And the one thing that I absolutely love is the way that you have a gift in writing about all of this. And I forgot to mention it when I first introduced you, but your blog page, your website. For all of those watching, definitely go check out. It's EmilyLPittsford.com. And when you pull it up, it's a beautiful site, absolutely beautiful. You did a fantastic job with it. But I love the first quote that pops up. Come in, sit a bit, have a cup of tea with me. Because I feel that that's just everything about you. You share on such a personal level, but you do it with whimsy, and you just have a great gift of writing and being so relatable to everybody.
Well, thank you. I really do enjoy it. Somebody asked me when I was going to write the next book, and which I thought was really nice, at the question everything. And I look forward to when the Lord prompts me on that one, because I think I'm trying to answer that question because I didn't answer it how I would like to have answered it. When you ask questions, you think later, oh, I should have said this. But with Tim's book, it was so evident. Somebody was praying over me on the anniversary of Tim's death, and she said, you're supposed to write, you're supposed to start today. That was a really clear sign. So I on the plane ride home from Ohio, I started writing my speech in a book form, and I thought this will be perfect. I'll have the book there, and and then our world pretty much fell apart, actually starting in July, with leaks, mold, kitchen remodels, hospital visits, near-death experiences. So I just really haven't felt focused to, get back to it. But I really do enjoy crafting. Maybe that's not the right word, but getting the words just right. I massage them, and how can this be said and not offend anybody, which with what I speak about is not easy to do, and that they feel comfortable in what I'm about to share, and not not from a place of judgment, but a place to I love these people. It is so sad that they are so trapped. If I can share a funny story, I'm going to share it in
Yeah.
my speech, I think. But when we would go to her seminars, we would do brunch, and it was before she was. She would have us buy the food, and so we went to Safeway in San Francisco, and via Uber or Lyft, one of the cabs, and we're coming out of there, and I have a grocery cart full of groceries, like $250 worth for the girls, and I'm feeling a little put out. And I'm coming out, and my husband is this wonderful man, and he wants to make it easy for the Lyft driver, so he's trying to flag them down on the street. And I'm in the parking lot pushing this really heavy cart, and kind of grumbling. And I'm seeing this man on a soapbox begging. And my thoughts were not real kind. I'm not going to lie. And I just felt like everybody was wanting something from me, And all of a sudden, my elbows are up into my shoulders. I never heard of a system where they have magnets in the parking lots where you can't go past them with the shopping carts. So I hit the magnet, and the shopping cart went like this and stopped midway. I mean, right en route. And I'm like trying to move this shopping cart all over the place and backing it up. And I'm yelling at Bill, like, why couldn't you just stayed in the parking lot? It was really embarrassing. And there was this man to my left. You know how when you're upset, you kind of want everyone to know why you're upset, because then they'll understand. And so I'm not really feeling like I should hold it in. And so I'm trying to get this shopping cart back, and Bill's trying to walk backwards to help me. But I keep looking at this man. And so then Bill went out to get
Not too much noise.
Probably maybe a little bit later. And so this nice looking man with blonde hair, his clothes were a little disheveled, but yet he was very clean looking. It's kind of hard to describe him. And he walked past me, Liz, right in front of me. And he turns to me and he says, "Isn't it difficult to be completely stuck?" And I looked at him like, how did you know what I'm thinking? I mean, I didn't yell anything out about like what I felt, that everybody wanted something from me. And then I got it. And my face softened, and I knew that was an angel sent to me to reprimand me, basically. And I had a much better attitude after that, because it allowed me to help me understand these people. They truthfully feel stuck. They don't know another way out. And the world right now tells them that this is all good. Your problems will be solved if you just take these hormones. Your problems will be solved if we cut off your body parts. We're not Legos. And I think it was a really poignant moment for me. And I enjoyed the rest of the day and enjoyed serving these ladies.
And you
Humbling.
speak a lot on your blog page. You have a bunch of different entries, and some of them are incredible stories, just like the one you shared, of being at different events with your daughter, supporting her. And then you also have an open letter to the homosexual.
It's my favorite.
If you want to speak a little bit.
Yeah, it's my favorite blog post. Basically, I think I say I love them and I would die for them, but don't get any ideas because I'm very well protected. And so, and then I basically give them a letter to repent. And then I add a little humor, and I said, so if you're not ready for a face plant right now, at least pray to be open to the truth. And I figured it couldn't hurt, and it gets read every so often. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it's not the biggest blog post, and who's gonna advertise on my blog post with the stuff I have on there? So, it'll never, I shouldn't say never. I hope one day when Leanne comes back that it will be a place where people can go to learn the truth. And I'll even have more stories on there about her coming back and such like that. So, because sometimes I get not discouraged, but I question, like, why am I even doing this, Lord? If I have a hard time saying this is for you, Lord, if it's, I've got 37 followers. So it doesn't feel like this is good enough, I guess. Like, maybe I'm wasting my time. But I don't think so. I really enjoy it. It's a great outlet for me. And they have come and seen it. Trust me, I've gotten a not bad, but a few comments, that weren't pleasant, but that's the way it goes. They're stuck.
Well, I know just from running the conferences how many lives you touched and what an impression you made on, and how decisions were made, and how you're able to really help parents, because there are a lot of parents. You have advice for parents of prodigals, and I love the way that you titled that, because it's not just if somebody's child is in this movement, but there's prodigals in, kids are kids. And this world has a way of sucking you in and keeping them trapped.
Yeah, totally. I in 2004, there really wasn't any place to go online. The only person I shouldn't say only, there were places to go, but none that I really adhered to. They wanted to tell me that it was, and I don't want to say that it's all my fault, don't get me wrong, but they just kind of wanted to pat you on the head and not allow you that journey that I believe is necessary to help your child heal. I would say to a parent that just found out, it's devastating, obviously. Don't look at this as a sprint. It is a marathon. And look at this as not so much the worst thing ever, but an opportunity for growth. Because if you don't allow yourself to look at things differently as how you raised your children, you're doing yourself a disservice, and you're staying, in my opinion, and not every case, I'm sure there's some cases where, stuff happens or whatever, but I usually find there's something that happened, there's some type of trauma, and I will uncover some other things that people aren't aware of that might actually aid in the discovery mode. But we need to discover why this is happening, and not just, wash our hands of it or say, well, I did the best job I could. Now up to you. I have a person I know says, I just washed my hands on it, let God, sort it out. Well, that's great, but why not take this opportunity that God has given you, in my opinion, to see where I can change? What do I need to repent? What curses did I not realize? I wanted to dig deeper. But that's me. My house is messy, but my drawers are really clean. So, but I make beautiful signs.
Yes, you do. You use your creativity and your talents, and yes, you have quite an assortment.
Yeah. There's almost nothing I haven't done creatively. Even batik in the 70s, and in art class, and clay and flower arranging, maybe, I don't know, but yeah, I just really enjoy the creative side. So, but and bless your heart, if you are a parent, I don't mean to beat you up in any way. I was there.
And you have a Facebook group, so if you want to talk about the Facebook group it's a private group.
Right.
But how you have hope for Christian parents of the LGBTQ children.
Exactly. In fact, it's called Hope for Christian. I think you just said it, Christian. It's a long title because it's secret. We kind of went with a longer title. I had a friend of mine help me, to make some decisions, because she was really good with marketing. So it is a secret group. The good news is that no one can see what you're putting in there. The bad news is nobody can see us. It's a shame they don't have a way, like, in between secret and private or whatever, like NYA's TV is. And then they don't show the people in it. They just, put it on the search engines and the SEO. So in order to get in, you just like my Emily L. Pittsford page, because I have 2 pages. Or you can message me on Facebook, and then I'll, tell me your story and get me in, or get you in. Because it used to be, when it was not secret, it was nice because you could put questions up. But we were also getting a lot of, I think one girl was like a spy. I don't know what to call them, but
a troll.
Yeah. She had a story, and then it was a different story when she said, "Thank you for allowing me in," and I got rid of her right away. But you got to be careful with that. So this way, at least, we're pretty secure. Kevin Stoll's in there, and not that he has a child, but he just kind of wanted to see what's going on, and which is secret. So shouldn't have shared that. So Kevin, sorry, but anyway, when he got in before it was secret, so we'll go with that. But I enjoy that, and putting in positive articles. There is enough negativity, like my speech. Why would I want to spend an hour and a half telling you how bad it is? We know it's bad. If you're in there, you're probably going to know it's bad. And if you don't know it's bad, then you really need to be in there, because I'm going to show you why it is so bad and the lies that we've been told. We can all go to YouTube or the news and know how bad it is. And we can all sit around and talk about that. But at the end of the day, what good does that do?
Mm-hmm.
We need to know why that is a lie. And we need to hear about the people that have come out of it. And we need to hear the hope in Jesus, and to know how we have been duped, so we can affect the next generation. And turn off the television and not throw it away. Honestly, the television is the worst thing that's ever happened to this society. Maybe not the worst, but pretty bad. And sin was here on earth before the television, but boy, what an amazing tools to do it. If you were Satan, that would be inventive.
For sure. And it's jumped from the TV now to the internet and social media, and just all the craziness that is out there today. The world is for our children. It's coming for our children. And the more that this gets exposed, the more that parents become aware of the activities and how all of this is trying to weave into our day-to-day lifestyle, desensitize our children, and make them open to everything out there. It's crucial. What you do is crucial. Whether you only see with a few people in your group, it's crucial how just you being out there and now having this platform and sharing on all the different conferences and YouTube channels such as this, it will make a difference. Absolutely. If it's just one parent and one child, it is all well worth it.
It really is. It really is. It's a dream come true. I've been wanting to speak since the 1st grade. Show and tell. I lost sleep the night before because I planned my speech. I can still give it to you if you want. But
and what did you show everybody?
A doll. And oddly enough, I felt so guilty because my basic form for speaking is confessing and then sharing. So it's so funny because she was a gift underneath the Christmas tree, and I peeked, and I felt so guilty that I think I really love this doll more. And I think her name was Suzanne. I think I still have her. And it was wonderful because she was tall enough where I could stand and hold her hand. Of course, her hand was like this, but I could stand and hold her hand. And so that's what I spoke on. And I have friends on Facebook that could tell you they were there. And I knew then I really liked public speaking. I didn't call it that, but I always say, people, what's your favorite subject? Well, it was art, but show and tell was right behind. And then when I went back to college in 2004 on a whim. Like I decided the week before, I'm going to go to college. Okay. Because I had a regret that I quit when I met Bill and knew I was going to get married and stuff. And nothing really interested me either. So I went back and I took child development, which I don't remember everything, but I still kind of use it in my speech, and I took that because I wanted a good parking space. So it was on in the morning. And then I took art and I drew. I can even get you a painting that's over there of an artichoke that I painted. And and then I took creative writing and public speaking. That was a total whim. I was just looking at the schedule, go, hey, public speaking is right after creative writing. That'd be really fun. And I thought, oh, this is going to be great. I can have anonymity because my children, being that they were very active in school, especially Leanne, and my husband was administrator, the Pittsfords were well known in the community. So this is going to be really great. So this kid in front of me turns around and he goes, you're Tim's mom, aren't you? And I went, there goes that. And he was in creative writing and public speaking. And so it was really fun. We were in the same group and had a blast. And so I really enjoyed the public speaking. That I learned a few things, I mean, it's a process, but I learned never to apologize for your speech. Like, it's a pet peeve of mine too. When people, the first thing they say is, bear with me, or I have a cold, or whatever it is. Or even in my blog, I haven't blogged in a while because of everything's been going so crazy at the house. But the next blog is not going to be, I haven't been on in a while. Or YouTube channels will do that. Well, if I'm just tuning in on this, I don't know that, but that's just me. I'm sure I'm just being the hall monitor. But so yeah, you'll never hear me say, well, I have technical difficulties. Even though on day 2, it was a really funny joke when they were fixing something. All of a sudden, Bill and Jeremiah Dirt were like surrounding me and something with the microphone. And I looked around and I go, well, where's the unicycle that I'm going to have to learn to ride, because that's what it kind of felt like. What's one more thing, But, you just keep going. They don't want to hear about it. And it's only going to take away from your speech. And you only have so much time. And you want to give them the best, not your complaints.
Mm-hmm. Boy, that's very true. We are so much alike. That's just crazy because I'm the same way. Like, just persevere. No one needs to know that, everything is falling around you. Just act like it's not occurring. And, the show must go on.
Yes. Unless you're my personal friend, and unfortunately, you will get to hear about all my health issues. But other than that, yeah. But when I get up there, it's like, well, the Holy Spirit just takes over, And I'm practicing my speech right now for Calgary, and it's 10 minutes over, just like Take on the World, just like Question Everything. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to worry about this time, because when I get up there, it just kind of automatically condenses to where it's supposed to be. It's weird. It's like, okay, I really can't go there. But when you're practicing, it's really easy to start going down rabbit trails and start to complain or whatever it is, And so that's why, for me, I really like to rehearse it a lot. So that way it's smoother. And that's why I do the slides, because one, they're really, really, really a lot of fun. I have a great slides.
You are very good at them too, I will say.
Thank you. And they're fun to make. I mean, they're just really fun to go, okay, well, what about this color? And what about this slide? And, or video, and let's shrink it down and let's do this. And it's this whole creative process that happens. And so, yeah, that's why I do it. So I will actually stay more focused, and then I won't forget. I did forget a few points, but that's what you always do. And you're not supposed to tell people if you forget a point. I do, but you're not supposed to, because it takes away from your speech and people don't know.
Right.
And then you learn for next time. I learned that even when I wrote the book, I did a few interviews, and oh man, I forgot this and I forgot that. It's like, man, you just have to move on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was meant to be that way. Yeah, the Holy Spirit definitely guides you into what each person needs to hear. It's so funny in a lot of the past shows that Chris and I have done, and we did a show last night, just a recording, so not a face-to-face show, which almost is easier, I think, where you're just recording. And I'm prepping Chris, naturally the control freak in me is like, okay, what's going to be our outline? How are we, who's going to say what and this and that? And he's like, relax. It always turns out better when we just talk off the top of our heads and just let the Father tell us what to say. And, he's always right. Always right. Because it was, he spearheaded that whole entire show and did a phenomenal job. And his brain is just amazing at the information that he can retain and spit out and compute, when he needs to say it in the right way it's supposed to be said. I just sort of sat there in awe, like, I have really got to stop trying to control things. I really do. I'll be honest, and I'll share this with the world. I am going through a refining process, and it's not easy. It is not easy at all. I hate it right now. I really do. And, I've been silent on a lot of things because I'm just trying to sit back and sort of, take all of this in and see where the Father is taking us and leading us, and telling me, you've got to correct a lot of things. The whole week of unleavened bread was difficult. It was difficult.
Sure.
But I know coming out of this, I know he's in the fire with me, and I know that I will come out of this a better person. But it stinks. It stinks right now.
The process is so painful. Well, it's like being reborn over and over and over and over and over and over again. And going through that birth canal is not easy, and if we can just continually see the light as, in the process, but oh my gosh, it's so difficult. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I know that this house has been falling apart as part of this process. I mean, I could probably write a whole 10 blog posts on it or a book about since June 4th of last year. And yeah, it's just, you just go, okay, what else? One more thing. I mean, we still have we got to check on if there's mold on roof links, and my bathroom is leaking in the fan in the bad rains that we had in California, and went downstairs, and I was looking today, and there's a water stain, and okay, well, and we found a mold guy though now that we really like. He did a great job on the bathroom. They're very professional and very tedious. They pulled apart my kitchen, pulled it out and put it back in and everything. I said, okay, it's a little off here. And they went and, got it all fixed to my satisfaction, because the doors were about a quarter inch off, and that's enough to notice, and so
that's the worst. It's the worst when something's that minute, but then you stare at it.
I know. It's a brand new kitchen. I mean, it's literally, I think it was done mid or late January. So yeah, I mean, having to but they did find a little bit more mold, but I couldn't live wondering if there was mold back there. So but you're not here to hear about all that. There was the head of the college that Tim went to, he was in a scholarship program, and we got to go listen to him the day before the first day of school as parents in this scholarship program. And he said something so profound, which I don't live by, but I thought it was really profound. He said, never complain. Half the people don't want to hear it, and the other half are really happy you're going through it. I don't live by this, but I thought that was really poignant. That's really good advice. I've gotten better, but I say it's just been challenging. That's a better way. It's just been challenging. These are challenges, and they're distractions, to keep us. And it's always that too, like, is this punishment? And some people say, well, the Lord is punished. Okay, maybe, I don't know. And then, or is this consequences to behavior, or is this testing? What is it? Because if it's something I need to correct, I want to do that. But I think it's all part of that process, and you're learning as you go.
Mm-hmm.
And life is a way of, bringing those things up for you. You don't have to work at it. They just happen, So rain happens.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and that's why I call it the refining.
Yes.
Because then I know he's going to take me from this, horrible, ugly looking rock, and transformed to this beautiful piece of marble. That's what I'm hoping.
The speaker on being a wife or something, that would be fun to talk about, because we're all in this boat, and especially as coming into a whole Bible truth. Boy, things that we thought we could get away with. Yeah, we can't get away with nothing. There's like nothing. But yet he doesn't give it all at once. I mean, that's the good news. If someone had laid out my life, I think I'd have given up a long time ago, but it's just a little bit of time. And,
mm-hmm.
It gives you, I hate to use that, he gives you what you can handle, because that's a total lie. But I think it was Paul was in prison or something, and he said it was way more than we can handle, but then people could see how God provided. Because I hate that saying when somebody tells you when you lose a child, God only gives you what you can handle. Yeah, that's not helping either. But my point is that still, he gives you what you and him can deal with together, not all at once.
It's so true. With planning this past Take on the World 18, it just felt insurmountable. The amount of stress and pressure of putting together a 3-day event for 600 people, orchestrating all of it together was just overwhelming at times. And I kept saying to Chris, like, I don't know how we're going to do this and this and this and this. And now reflecting back on it and all of its challenges, I was at a women's event recently, and the speaker said something that just spoke to me. And she said, if something was easy, then it's easy for you to take the glory. But it's in those challenges and it's in those insurmountable tasks that he gets the glory. And what a proper perspective, that it isn't that he's giving us what we can handle, because I could not handle it. I had a miscarriage 2 weeks before Take on the World 18, and that was insurmountable. It was horrible.
Absolutely.
Horrible. And I could have never, ever gotten through all of it without him. And it truly was by his grace and his mercy.
Absolutely.
That, it happened.
Yeah, absolutely. No, we can't get through this life without him. Otherwise, we would, right? I mean, we would figure these things out, and we would do this. And obviously there's times when we have to put a foot forward. And I get that. But there's times too, we really just need to cry out to Daddy and say, why? Why did this happen? Why did couldn't we have done this a different way? And yet here it is. Here it is what we get to deal with. And this life you cannot get out of this life alive. And he is the only way out of it, period. Otherwise, we're going to be with the giants. That's really what it's about. It's us or the giants. Do we believe the lies, or do we believe him? And so then we have these insurmountable and horrific events. And what do? We can run, but we're so much better off if we have him.
Mm-hmm.
And grab upon his, the fringe of his garment, because that's what we are if we're smart. We're that woman grabbing a hold and saying, how can you take me to a different place? Because right now this place really hurts. I mean, I didn't watch it being lowered, but, seeing that casket just, it's insurmountable, and yet somehow that strength comes over and you get it done until the next day when you can fall apart. Because I totally believe you need to fall. There's times you need to fall apart. I'm going to get anal, but our tears have a chemical compound according to the emotion that we're crying out. And so when we cry, we are literally purging the tears of grief or whatever it is we're feeling. And as you know, I mean, when we have taken those times to just face plant, fall on the couch, whatever it is, you feel cleansed afterwards. And that's why. I mean, I know that's the physical thing. Obviously, there's more happening emotionally and spiritually and all that. But I totally believe in the grieving process. That's why, and God said he grieved. And in the church, it was like, give it to God. I read this book. It's called Morning Song. I highly recommend it. Mourn, like, not obviously morning. And she had a stillbirth, and she had other children. And the pastor came in, and he didn't even sit down. And he kind of patted her on the shoulder, and he said, "You're a strong Christian. You're going to be okay," and walked out. Her parents didn't even go to the funeral. And so she started on her own journey of grieving and figuring out that we are to grieve. I mean, the Jews, they have a 30-day festival practically for grieving. They put the black cloth in the mirror, and they hire people. Of course, this might be going extreme, but they totally understand that they need to grieve. And this is a human being that you lost. And to say that this doesn't matter, it matters. It absolutely matters. And when you have life inside of you, you know what it feels like. I still miss being pregnant. You miss those kicks. And to not even get to the point where you felt kicks. It's the loss. I don't know if you've ever heard this saying, but I love this saying. Someone gave it to me. And they said, when you lose a parent, you lose your past. When you lose a spouse, you lose the present. When you lose a child, you lose the future. And so it's a different type of process, but it's still a grieving process. And it's the what ifs that'll kill you. On some level, I got to have my son for 28 years. There's no what ifs for me. I mean, a little bit, it'd been nice if he woke up, and I mean, I had that all planned, but I still got to hold him, and I still got to be his mom,
Yes,
and I won't.
The what ifs are killer. They still are.
They are. There absolutely are. And it's continually changing as you grieve, because I never want to say you shouldn't grieve, but as we grieve is at some point, and I don't mean to minimize it, but you're able then to shift and change your thought processes on him more so, because at some point you realize it's so painful. I can't deal with this. Like I thought literally when I walked down the hill, we all walked down the hill with his casket. I thought if I cried hard enough, he'd come back. Like when you're a kid, if you cry hard enough, you get that candy bar or whatever it is that you want to watch that television program. Yeah, that wasn't going to work. But I really thought if I did, it would. And it didn't. And it was no fixing it. Like I'm a fixer. I can figure out ways. Can't do that. So I am so sorry. And, you don't know until you know.
Yes. Yeah, it's a club I never thought I would have to join.
Right. Yeah.
And so many women I know, I wasn't prepared. I didn't have tissues around. So don't mind me wiping everything.
You're fine with me, and I'm sure everybody else too.
I didn't realize how many women struggle in silence, with this grief, and so many people, have that whole stigma where you just don't talk about it. And I can feel that, I know when I'm going to remain silent too, talking to whoever. But yeah, it just has become part of our journey that I never thought I'd have to walk through. And I'm reminded of that Footprints poem. It was a poem that I had up in my room ever since I was a little girl. I loved it. And it really helped me get through, the difficulties of high school and college and all of that. And it's just crazy how, I got to pull it back out of my memories again and remember that, there's one set of footprints.
Yeah. I'm so sorry. It's just not something you can, yeah, I know. I mean, it's different, but it's the same. My mother had 2 miscarriages before me.
Yeah. And then you think, oh, do we try again? But, what if it happens again? I can't go through this again.
Right. Exactly. That would be very understandable to not want to do that again. But you'll know when if and when you'll know, you will know,
Mm-hmm.
And it will be good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I hope it will. I mean, we never can say for sure, but it's still, if it is truthfully his timing and all that. And I know you are the type to do research on all the different variables, of our body. And you're so good with all that. And so surprising because, you are a healthy woman and it can happen to anybody,
It truly can. Absolutely. And that's the one thing, being a researcher like I love to do, then and knowing what we know about the assaults on everything that they're trying to do to decrease population and all of that, then I think, right. They're coming after me.
Right. It's all in his, like you said, if it was easy, we would take the glory,
Mm-hmm.
And he's got something else for you. It's just walking in it.
Yes.
My, and not to say, again, you shouldn't grieve, but when I was in this class for sexually abused women, this one woman was praying over me and she was like doing this, like something's going on. And she said, "You're supposed to do something." And I said, "Yeah." And she said, "Start walking in it." And not to fake an emotion. But I think there's that part that, what I learned from that, for me anyway, was like, I need to be careful of what I say at the grocery store. I need to be more, what if I say this? What if I say that? And not to say they're going to know that I speak, but once you put yourself out in that public arena, and I'm sure there's stuff I've goofed and said, don't get me wrong, but it is just walking that out, in the walking in his glory. And I'll let you know when I get there, that we try to do along the way and say, okay, what choice can I make today? And for me, it's like giving up chocolate. It was really hard to do. Actually, it really wasn't, because I was in the hospital and sugar wasn't my best friend, as I figured out, even though I hadn't had white sugar in a long time, but still. So actually, it wasn't really that hard to do, but it is still a choice, not to, I mean, I drive back by Starbucks and I really like that chocolate chip cookie. I'm not gonna lie. They used to have one that was chocolate chip. Oh my gosh, was it good? But it's not worth it, So I feel for you.
Don't mind me and my Chipotle napkin.
I love
it's a telltale sign. It's a favorite, and you can never walk out without taking a few to have in your car.
I don't waste them. I can't, because Bill takes 18, and I'm like, well, they're gonna throw them away.
Right, they're gonna go to good use.
I'm a waste not, want not freak, and anyway, so I'm having fun. Well, I don't know how long you want to go, but I'm also having just a blast doing a little garden out in my backyard, and having fun going on Facebook and filming, and I've got my little seedlings going, and such a fun thing about, I've noticed it's a definite trend to start doing that for people. That people are at least it's just me, it feels like it maybe, but it seems like that's all over Instagram and stuff, like people really getting into that. So that's been kind of fun.
Totally. I think everybody's really understanding what's happening to our food today and how, well, one, if you're trying to eat organic, the prices are just escalating out of control. So,
Mm,
being able to have your own little organic garden is huge for a lot of people. And I know for us, we love having that opportunity to teach our son about it. This is where your food comes from and how you can control it and what it takes to grow it. And, it's our own little piece of homesteading.
right.
Not much, but a little
Well,
bit.
I don't know if you saw it, one of the little videos I called it homesteading without moving.
Yes.
So many people, but my husband wouldn't be exactly on board with that. So I'm just having fun doing a little bit here, a little bit there. And we used to have a gardener every 2 weeks. And you don't think they do much until they're gone. And so, but I told Bill, I said, well, we better people for this. Like, if we let them go. And I hated it because I now think they were putting a little more weed control on our front yard. I didn't let him in the back for sure, but because now I'm seeing a lot more, and maybe it's just with our California rain, but yeah. So, and it was so noisy and all the gas blowers, and it was just a miserable 2 hour or an hour and a half when they were here or stuff. So, but we'll see. I might chicken out at one point and say, okay, just come back.
Well, this is perfect because this is a great segue into the end part of the show. So Chris has always done in his secret shows, put the speaker on his hot seat questions. Well, I'm going to do my little spin on it and have my top 5 favorites that I'm going to ask you. So, and I think these favorites are sort of very telling of who you are.
Okay.
So first one, what is your favorite color?
Pink.
Pink.
My parents, I don't know if you want to know why, but my parents,
yes.
My dad was always forever painting rooms in that lovely lead paint in the 70s. Yay. But anyway, and they would say, Emily, we're going to paint your room. What color do you want? Pink. And they'd bring home yellow. So it was kind of a bone of contention for me that here they asked me and they still didn't listen to me. So, and my mother said, well, she didn't want to do it pink because she always had pink and she didn't want me to get sick of pink. I'm like, well, now I'm sick of yellow. So what's the difference? And I still don't have a pink bedroom. My shabby chic room with white furniture is blue because my mother had cross-stitched this really cool little thing with the little children praying. Now I lay me down to sleep. And it's in pinks, and it would have been too much pink. So it is kind of a light blue. But yeah, I really do like pink.
I love color. That's what I studied in college with having a design degree. And so color was always a favorite of mine, and really understanding the meaning of color and how certain colors just evoke all these different emotions. So asking somebody their favorite color, I think, is very telling because it just tells of a bit about who they are. And so pink's an interesting one. It's very soft, very beautiful. To me, it has a welcoming quality, a calmness to it, and that's very much all of your personality. So I can totally see that one.
She would have a different story. It would be like red in my hormonal, ups and downs. But I've in this house we've got brick. Let's see if I can show you. We have that.
Yes.
Yeah, brick. So the house is in blacks and reds and the tan, and as you can see, the black. And but anyway, so I do like color too. Like to decorate, I've always done bold colors. But as far as my favorite, like pink roses, but I like yellow roses too. So yeah, I like when I was a decorator, I loved using colors. I just didn't want to do all white. Yeah.
Yeah, that's just way too boring.
Yeah.
And you're not boring.
Yeah. No.
You are anything but boring.
I get that a lot. Right.
Favorite number 2. What is your all-time favorite memory throughout your whole life? I know that's a loaded question to ask.
60 years. That's 60 years, babe. Or calling babe. My favorite memory. I don't know. I think the only.
Or you could just tell us one. I know it's hard to choose. Just one. But
when I wouldn't go again, but I always wanted to go to the Rose Parade, and my husband hates parades. He says the only thing worse than a parade is a circus. He hates them. And so one, holiday, they said, Emily, here's a present for you to open, and we want you to open it like in front of everybody. Okay. So I didn't have my glasses on for some reason, so I couldn't read it really well, and it's in this envelope. I open up the envelope, and it's Rose Parade tickets. And I kept thinking, please don't be Rose Bowl. Please don't be Rose Bowl. Because I don't have my glasses on, so I couldn't take it all in. So that I burst out in happy tears like never, ever before, because it wasn't just about the parade. It was that he doesn't like parades. And yet he was willing to take me to this parade. And so, yeah, I've since learned more about the Rose Parade, but still, it was a really loving act. And so that's definitely one of my favorites.
And I'm sure it was absolutely beautiful to witness all of that in
person.
It
was. And my mother loved the Rose Parade. It was an event every year in my house, and she would go once too. In fact, I have like a pillow. You buy these pillows because the seating is absolutely horrendous. You are like this, and there's no way out but the edges. They pack you in. So if you have to go to the bathroom, forget it. And you get there 2 hours early, and the parade's 2 hours, and it's quite the ordeal. I would do it again, but not knowing now, but then I would. And so that was kind of special too, because she really loved it, and so I got to experience it. It was nice. And then with Tim, that's another story. But yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was going to ask you a third favorite. And this one being your favorite food or dish to make.
To make?
Mm-hmm.
That involves cooking.
You have a beautiful kitchen now.
I know. I'm just joking. Kind of. Truthfully, I cook really simply. I think if I could eat it, it would be chocolate cake or chocolate brownies. If I could eat it, because then the result would be worth it. But I can make chocolate frosting in 4.5 minutes. So I just skip the brownie part. I don't do that. But to make, I think, stuffed peppers. I really like the process. My mother made stuffed peppers a lot, and I never liked the peppers. And then I learned as an adult, you can use red peppers. You don't have to use the cheap green peppers. And they're so much better. Yeah. So, and I love eating them. I love stuffed peppers. And I would make stuffed cabbage rolls too. Those are harder, but they're still fun to make. And he hated them. Oh my gosh, he hated them. And then he actually tried them and then loved them. So that was kind of fun. Oh, and then I make one stuffed roulade, which is skirt steak, and it's rolled up with cream cheese and pine nuts and some type of cheese. And when I used to celebrate these things, I made it for Bill for Valentine's Day, I think when we were first dating. And Tim used to call it elephant trunk. And same thing. He hated it until he tried it. It was like, oh my gosh, this is so good. So yeah, those are fun things to make.
Oh, that's kids for you. Oh my goodness. I think it's they have to try something like 7 to 10 times before they actually deem if they like it or not.
Right. And then he became a chef. Go figure. But yeah, anyway. Sometimes
good
I
memories.
just miss him. Yeah. Many days.
Okay, question number 4. What is a favorite memory from Take on the World.
Oh gosh. Day 2, because I shared this when I was on Chad's show right afterwards, but I was praying just 10 people on day 1 because I'm an unknown and I don't have a big YouTube channel, and who wants to go talk about gay stuff? That's much more fun to talk about flat earth. And so just 10 people, that's good. And so 30 about came. And not that you should count, but I did, or Bill did. And then day 2, they were coming in and coming in and coming in. And I really enjoyed when Nathan Reynolds came in. And that was really fun. But because he was like, yes, yes, and then obviously we become good friends. And just being there. I mean, walking in the first time in 17 and being with all sorts of other weird people and getting to meet people that you knew online, and they're real, and it's just, the whole thing was amazing. But it was really fun on day 2, like all the, that they really enjoyed what I had to share, and that word of mouth brought them in. Because Bill's like, you're the first one up, and everyone's tired on day 3 or 4 or whatever it is. Everyone's staying up late, and so they're, and that was really honoring.
Well, and there were a lot of people that never even went to sleep. They just coasted the whole entire time. It was a continual fellowship. All the guys sat around the campfire at night. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I can only imagine.
I heard, what they were nodding off, and then one finally went to bed, and it was really funny. I honored that. I should have, because I was up late anyway, because who can sleep the night before you're going to share what you're going to share the next day? Ooh, that's restful. Ooh, slumber time. Shalom.
Yeah, I did not get much sleep at all. Just everything constantly going through my head. We have to do this, and this, the control freak in me. And I just couldn't get my to-do list out of my head. Although I think I did get maybe 2 hours every night. But it's just a high that you're on that, you just can't have. I mean, it's hard to describe for those who haven't come. You're very uplifted the whole entire time, and that's sort of what propels you through. But then it's hard to sleep because you just want to continue, being around everybody. So,
well, let's face it, when we are in our normal day lives, we are not, I don't care what you believe or what you don't believe at that conference. If you believe half of what is at that conference, you are an outsider. You may be an outsider at your church, in your family, at the grocery store. I mean, you never feel like you belong as you used to. And so you're literally grieving that out. And so when you walk into this place, all of a sudden, you are not alone. And there was nobody there, well, maybe, but for the most part, there was nobody there to convict you on every single thing that they believe, right? I mean, it was, as far as I was concerned, a very conducive people, or group of people that just knew they wanted more truth in their lives. And it wasn't so much, I've got to convict you of what I believe and don't believe. And so there was none of that fighting. For 3 or 4 days, you could say stuff, and people are like, oh, okay. Like I said, lupus, no, not lupus, leprosy is a mold or something like that. And the guys are like, yeah. And I'm like, it was just cute because you can't say that anywhere else, or maybe you could, but you get what I mean, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. And you are family, and you're also getting a taste of heaven, literally, because you're with people that are like-minded in these areas. And it's the misfit toys in the Rudolph movie, right? And we're not misfit.
Yes. We're not misfit. Right. It's instant connection on so many different levels, and you just feel like oh, this is the family, that I've longed for. This is the connection that I've longed for. And yeah, to have a whole entire weekend together is just incredibly special. And for adults, to have this as well as their kids. Yeah, it's just memories to last a lifetime, truly. And yeah, I cannot wait for August just to be able to see everybody again, give everybody hugs. And I will tell you, with the tickets that have come in so far, we're at about half of reoccurring friends and half of new friends. So I think it's going to be super fun. Yeah,
good to know.
Super fun.
Yeah, more people to meet and people to see again, because you really hope they come back. The people that you connected with and such, and because it is a really special treat that you guys are doing. Thank you. Yeah.
All right, so final favorite, last question, and this is how we'll wrap up the whole show. Your favorite Bible verse?
Oh, the one that really hit me in the mid-90s was, "I will repay you for your years of locust." It's probably not like a, flowery, have a cup of tea with me type of verse, but I think that's the one that, wow, okay, he could do that? He can fix this? He can of course, I think there's beforehand, the verse isn't real, he's like, "He's gonna put you through this, though." I mean, that's part of it, we can't, like, that Jeremiah 29:11, is it? Where I have the plans for you. It really looks good on a coffee mug, but we forget that we're, for 70 years, we're in exile or something like that. So, there's the hard part that we go through to get to that point. And I think it talks about, like, he's putting you through the years of locust, and testing you, refining you, but still, that one, I bawled. I absolutely lost it when I read that verse. Like, wow, he can do that. And I knew then we were a mess, not to the point of what we became, but still, he can fix this. So yeah, and that's what I rely on. It's always been my hope. Even with my death of my son, I knew pretty quickly that this was about my daughter, and that this had to take place. And when I was able to hand Edie Windsor my book about my son's death, Edie Windsor is the woman that made gay marriage legal in the whole country. I knew, my son's death made sense then. A lot more sense. I mean, I was always focused that this is going to work somehow, but it was pretty special to get to do that.
That's amazing. I think that really sums up our whole entire show. And the whole point of these secret shows is really to get to know each speaker on a personal level. And I have a few questions to ask, just, give me an outline, Miss Control Freak. But really allowing the father to lead these shows, and just to speak on what he's put on your heart to share with everybody. And this has taken a direction that I couldn't have even thought about speaking and sharing. So thank you for sharing those intimate moments and those memories with us. I think that helps all of us understand you and understand why the Father has placed you where he has, and how you can really reach all these people today and help us have a greater understanding of what's occurring and how we can protect our children, protect ourselves, and see his will in all of this.
Absolutely. So. I'm so blessed to be able to do this. It's a miracle in itself. 60-year-old woman up there talking about, sodomy.
Who would have
thought? He picked, there's other people talking about the same subject, but still, he picked this little, 120-pound waif of a girl, and yet that's what I do.
And I'm so glad he did. I'm so glad that he pressed on your heart to, hear about this crazy conference in Ohio in 2017, and we got to meet you and speak last year, and you're speaking again here in August. So for everybody watching, I invite you to be a part of truly one of the most life-changing, amazing summer retreats you'll ever experience, and that is Take on the World Conference. It is August 22nd through the 25th in Vermilion, Ohio. You can learn all about it, all the other speakers, everything that we have in store at takeontheworld19.com. And we have, for all those listening who have their tickets, we have just released all of the meal plans. So take a peek at that and get in touch with us. And we cannot wait to fellowship with you, connect with you, and have you experience everything that Emily and I have spoken about for this whole entire show. So thank you, Emily. Thank you for everyone who has continued watching this whole entire show. We pray that you are blessed by it all, and that we get to see you in August. So take care, everybody.
Well, hey, hold on, everybody.
Wait a second.
Yeah, hey, tonight, guys, we have another secret show coming up. I'm going to host that. So 10 o'clock tonight. Liz didn't even know.
I didn't know he was going to come in here.
It's secret. That's what happens on the secret show.
Well, you're sharing your secrets.
I didn't tell who was on the show. So go to the website, check out the food. And Emily, thanks for being here so much. So I was hanging out in the chat, so doing awesome. So.
Great. Thank you.
Tonight, 10 o'clock, guys.
All right. Until next time, everybody.
Bye-bye.
See you later. Oh, and bear with me. I lost my mouse. There it is. Uh-oh.